Good afternoon. If I could have your attention, please. We're just going to wait a moment here and we'll turn our music down. We'd like to start the formal part of our program. My name is Don Rose. My day job is the Chief Administrative Officer at Great Lakes Christian High School and Preschool in Beamsville, but today I am here as one of the directors of the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce, and I have opportunity to serve on the Government Relations and Advocacy Committee. And on behalf of the Chamber and on behalf of the committee, we want to thank you all for being here. If you have questions about how the Chamber is advocating and can advocate on behalf of your business and your interests, I encourage you to speak to one of the Chamber staff or many of the directors who are here today, or visit our website and look at our advocacy page on our website. We do want, again, to formally acknowledge and to thank our sponsor today, Niagara Peninsula Energy. I want to, there we go. Thank you. We are deeply blessed in our community to have local politicians who work with the Chamber to present opportunities for business leaders and citizens to hear from and interact with them through a variety of avenues and events. And we desire to acknowledge at least a couple today that our mayor gets to serve alongside with. We're happy that Lincoln's Regional Councilor Rob Foster is here. And we're also grateful that Niagara Regional Chair Jim Bradley is here. So thank you to both of them for being here today. And also, there are a number of Town of Lincoln councillors, and I believe a couple of councillors from neighboring towns. Could you just stand if you're a councillor, please? We just want to thank you and acknowledge you for all the work that you do in our region, in our town, and in Niagara. Thank you. Most significantly, we want to thank our mayor and the office of the mayor for partnering with the Chamber and presenting today's State of the Town, and for their willingness to change things up a little bit today, and we pray that that's going to be a blessing for each of us. I really don't think Her Worship Sandra Easton, the mayor of the town of Lincoln, really needs an introduction. First elected 10 years ago, which I couldn't believe when I realized that, almost halfway through her third term. I don't think anyone can question her dedication to serving, to leading, and to working to make our community a better place in which to work and to live. I think all of us know that this town is growing. Some of us might even say it's exploding, and that brings tremendous opportunities, but also significant challenges. And with so much on which to comment, we want to welcome Mayor Easton to share a State of the Town address. Madam Mayor.
And Don, with that attitude, you can put your name on the next ballot. I have to find my papers. The lighting's pretty good, but one can never be sure. This is a wonderful crowd today, and although we've been here a few times for events, chamber events, and I think Rotary events, this really is a wonderful venue. It's really quite beautiful. And even coming in, what could be better for Lincoln to have its State of the Town address in the middle of an orchard? Blossoms coming out, pretty ideal, I would say. So I want to welcome everyone here today. But before we start, I also have a few introductory comments. First of all, I want to remind everyone that today is Administrative Professionals Day. And so if anybody is back at your office that isn't here today, it means that they're back there doing the work that you're not doing. Andrea's here, so nothing's getting done in the mayor's office. But I want to congratulate and thank everyone that plays those roles, no matter what your title is. They're big roles, they're difficult, and they're very, very important so that the rest of us can work quite smoothly through sometimes very difficult days. So thank you, Andrea. Personally, thank you, and thank to everyone else within the municipal world. Now, I'm very pleased that Chair Jim Bradley is here. I'm delighted to have Mayor Cheryl Ganan here. Regional Councillor Albert Witteveen is here today from West Lincoln as well. And I very much appreciate your interest and taking the time to come. Of course, NPEI, after sitting on the board, you never get away, as Councillor Brunet knows now. It's a very family, the board is really like a big family doing serious work. But they've always been extremely supportive of the town in a number of areas, and the fact that you continue to support this event is very much appreciated, and I hope that you take that back to the CAO. Thank you very much. Now, there's going to be a video, and I see that Liliana's not in her seat, so that means that, that we're going to watch this. Where's it going to show? On these screens? The ones that say Lincoln? Yes, okay, got it. Fostering an environment for economic prosperity. Right. Great, thank you very much, Liliana. It was wonderful. Just featuring a few of the businesses that are operating in the town, and those are all pictures from here. That's not from somewhere else. This is the real deal. That's who Lincoln is now. The Chamber of Commerce, of course, is really responsible for today, and I want to thank them very much for choosing this venue and for the change in the way we're doing things. It's amazing, you know, when you think of the number of staff that would be required to serve this number of people, and the fact that there's such a shortage of staff. So we change the way we do things, don't we? And that's what we're experiencing today. So success. You know, we've had a lot of success over the last 10 years, but there was certainly a lot of success within the town prior to me becoming the mayor. I'm very pleased again that our former mayor, Ray Conkle, is here today. Thank you very much, Ray, for attending. If I don't keep Ray up to date with things, he kind of shakes his head and wonders, what is she doing now? But, you know, we very proudly talk about the publications that we're doing, and I was looking at the economic development publication, and I'm not sure what year it was, Ray, but it was when greenhouses were really taking off in the town, and there was this wonderful publication, not as colorful as what we do now, but still in all, for in its day, it was a pretty fine piece of work. And so, Ray, it's not that we put everything else aside because we think that everything is better and gooder, but it's just that sometimes there's a break in between a great idea and the way things are done, and then we start to take it up again. And so I think that that's where we're at now with economic development. We're taking it up again and doing it a little differently, but still being very successful as you were in your day. Success does begin with sound principles, and the continuation of the economic development goals and the financial sustainability and thoughtful changes in the course of any day or any meeting to respond to the importance of the stability in government, particularly with the amount of instability that's existed for all of us over quite a long period of time, a few years now, is something that you want to deal with a group of people who are thoughtful and will spend whatever time it takes to ensure that the work is planned out and then that the work gets done. And so I'm going to speak about this more than once because it is important as citizens as well that you walk away understanding that the council that we have and councils over the years are made up of very dedicated people. And today, unfortunately, Councillor Adam Russell has responsibilities with his work that don't allow him to walk away from his desk during the day. But we have Councillor Diane Rangima with us today. We have Councillor Tony Brunet and Councillor John Pachariva. We have Councillor Mike Mikulik and Councillor Anna Murray, Councillor Greg Reimer, and Councillor Lynn Timmers. And I want to thank them all for their dedicated work, for their commitment to their work, and for coming today to support our agenda and the success that we are enjoying. When you look around in the foreroom where the food was being served and this information that's behind me and the booklets, don't leave without the booklets. Don't read them when I'm talking, but don't forget to read the booklets. It's very important that you pay attention to what's happening in the town, and the best way to do that sometimes is when you can just sit in a quiet place and have a look at the 22 to 26 council priorities and realize what that document is saying. One of the most important pages is this back page, because this is what a complete community looks like. When we talk about complete communities, this is what they look like. When you look at the goals and objectives under responsible and resilient, you will find the core answer to housing in Lincoln. It's very, very important that you become familiar with this. There's another document called the Community Profile, and it has a lot of statistics in it, but it tells you a lot that could really relate back to those photographs, those that were included in that video. Those statistics are also very important. They're never 100% up to date because of the way statistics are collected, but they're pretty representative. But this one, this is our new baby. This is the 2024 vision of the annual business review. So, Ray, this is the new version of the way things were when I think it was maybe about that big, maybe that number of pages. And this is a great document because it talks about the diversity of our economy, talks about tourism, and all of the really important elements that make up the business sector of the town. So please take the time to have a look at those. The staff of the town. I want to speak about the staff of the town because if you have to leave, you will have missed this message. The strategic directions of the town, the work plan of the town, and all of the work that comes as a result of that doesn't happen because a group of councillors sit down with the mayor and we decide with the CAO that this is the way things are going to be. If there's nobody to do the work, if you don't have people that are committed to the work, if you don't have people that are not prepared to work together so that you can work in a lean way, nothing gets done. You don't accomplish what I'm going to tell you about. And so I want to thank the staff because they are the backbone of what's happening in the town. They deal with the public, good or bad. They deal with the public. and they do it in a way that makes people feel that they are being heard, that their situations are being addressed, and they are solutions-oriented. They don't use the word no. They find a solution for every problem. It doesn't mean you come in getting everything you want, but it means that you leave with a very workable solution to whatever your problem is. So I also would like you to put your hands together for the senior staff at the town. For the leadership that the CAO, Mike Kirkopoulos, provides to them, and for the leadership that they provide for everyone who reports down the line. It's very important, and every person is important. As we continue, you will know, and I've said this before, the town of Lincoln is one of the fastest growing municipalities in Niagara with a strong and diverse economy, and it's comprised of several communities and hamlets. Loud enough, Councillor? Good. Our collective efforts in 2023 propelled numerous initiatives to fruition, setting a solid foundation for the future. And as we continue to rise to the challenges of fostering healthy communities, we offer hope and opportunities to our youth and engage in collaborative efforts to shape a vibrant and prosperous future for Lincoln. I will anchor today's address on a few values that I hold dear. These have acted as personal beacons during my tenure as mayor and my earlier terms as a councillor, and they include transparency and accountability, trust, authenticity, outcome-driven leadership, and sometimes ostentatious behavior. In the spirit of progress and community well-being, I'm delighted to share the enhancements that are made to our strategic plan for the years 2022 to 26. And in 2023, we took significant strides to update our council priorities to better align with the evolving needs of our community. The refreshed plan is aligned with our vision of a place to grow, a place to prosper, and a place to belong. And those words came from the community. It's focused on fostering a welcoming and connected, vibrant and prosperous, responsible and resilient community. These pillars serve as the foundation upon which we build a thriving future for all residents of Lincoln. Our council priorities plan acts as a roadmap to guide the decisions of both council and staff. With precision and purpose, this plan ensures that every initiative and action we take is deliberate, with a clear focus on supporting Lincoln's overarching vision. The town has also been actively advancing our economic development strategy and action plan, as I've noted. It's known as Lincoln's Pathway to Prosperity. With the previous strategy expiring in 2023, our dedicated staff have been actively engaging with local businesses, conducting surveys and on-site visits. These efforts aim to inform the new plan, building upon the solid foundation we've established while addressing evolving business landscapes and community needs. And councillors attend those on-site meetings as well. They're very informal, but they're very, very informative. In the coming months, we anticipate unveiling this new strategy, prioritizing key areas such as business retention and expansion. We love that we have new businesses. We give Paul all kinds of accolades for bringing in new businesses, but you have to look after the businesses that are here. If you don't do that, when they're gone, you're looking around wondering what happened to the prosperity that you hope to have. So, fostering innovation, attracting new investment, and enhancing workforce development is all part of our plan. This new purposeful plan will focus on growing our local economy, creating jobs, number one, creating jobs to ensure prosperity for our community. And let me make this very clear, that creating an atmosphere for private sector investment is a key component of what we do at Town Hall. Our economic development staff have been hard at work answering calls, working with our businesses to create prosperity. When one business or family succeeds in Lincoln, we all succeed. but when one business succeeds in Lincoln, all of Niagara succeeds, and that goes no matter where we live. This is really the core of outcome-driven leadership, basing our everyday work on directives approved by council that reflect community needs and values. Lincoln, as I've said, is home to a diverse economy, including exceptionally productive agriculture and horticulture sectors, manufacturing, value-added agricultural businesses, and tourism. I want to congratulate the greenhouse industry, Rodney Beerhausen, who is sitting in the far corner, because they have now organized themselves as a Lincoln Greenhouse Association. And I understand that it's even going beyond that. I think this is wonderful. Councillor Witteveen and I were at a meeting last Friday with some greenhouse operators from Pelham. They're looking for a model there that's a little bit closer to what the greenhouse operators are experiencing in Lincoln, and we certainly hope that that is the case. But these discussions that we have, today we're showing pictures. We did have some pictures of the greenhouses. There's a lot of industries. It's hard to touch on every one. We have the owner of the Camden General Store. Have you been in lately? I want to tell you, this is a happening lady. Lots of energy, all kinds of things. All of a sudden, this little store that didn't have very much happening, then it had a moment where a previous owner really had some excitement going on there. All of a sudden, this has become a hub for that hamlet. So thank you, Maritas, for doing such a great job. In 2023, we saw $1.4 billion of real gross domestic product in Lincoln. $1.4 billion. This is a population of almost 28,000 people. This is the GDP generated by Lincoln businesses in 2023. It's a pretty impressive number. And it reinforces our level of productivity and that we are using every inch of available space for value-added agriculture and manufacturing. These numbers are projected to grow for sure, and we're here to encourage this growth and prosperity. In 2023, we welcomed several new businesses to our community, including Applied Modern System Integration, Inc., Niagara Custom Crush Studios. You need to go there. That's a very, very unique wine environment. Pretty interesting a story, interesting history, and one that's very unique in our community. Mint and Magnolia, I'm really sorry, American Ann. They were located in West Lincoln, but it's a little flower shop that's now on King Street in Beamsville. It's all about where the space is, right? And we've also welcomed significant business expansions in 2023, with a total of 9 businesses that expanded their operations. And a few of them, you will know London-born Wine Company. They've grown and they're in a, I think, much more opportune location. Yes, absolutely. Dorkin Systems, Inc. and Vineland Research and Innovation Center is also amongst us on a very grand scale now. These investments reflect Lincoln's growing appeal to businesses and highlight the robustness of our local economy while also providing more highly skilled jobs for our community members. But I want to draw you back to my earlier comment. Things do not happen if you do not have committed staff that say, welcome, come on in, let's have a conversation, what do you need? And then you get on with your business. Soon you realize this is a good place to be. Somebody cares about me. They have an interest in what I have to say, what I may have to say about the use of property. I can see that I fit in here, and the next thing you know, they're located here. This happens all over Niagara, but it happens at a much bigger scale in places like St. Catharines and Niagara Falls and Welland. Lincoln is and continues to be an attractive community to invest in, creating a place where the private sector's return on investment is high. With confidence and trust in Lincoln, entrepreneurs like many of you feel comfortable in putting your hardworking dollars to work, creating jobs and wealth for all. Now, broadband, this seems to be the sleeper all the time. I mean, Councillor Foster would tell me that I should be talking about this first and taking up all the space. He's probably right, but it is coming. It just seems to be requiring so much energy to get the engine moving, but it seems to be on the track, and we hope that that is the case. Last year, we announced a historic $17 million investment in broadband infrastructure by Bell. With this investment, Bell is committed to expanding pure fiber internet service across our community, focusing mainly on the urban areas of Lincoln. Since then, staff, Paul Deanny and his staff, have continued to collaborate with Bell and other internet service providers to ensure the smooth implementation of this vital project. Together, we've identified key needs and expedited the permitting process, paving the way for the installation of new infrastructure that will bring all fiber broadband access to approximately 7,000 additional homes and businesses this year. Since then, staff have continued to collaborate with Bell and other internet providers to ensure the smooth implementation of this vital project. And we're anticipating another historic investment announcement from a different internet provider soon. Is that true, Rob? Doesn't know. See? It's always a secret. I'm doing my best. With this new announcement, plus what Bell and NWIC, our local company, are doing, we're confident that all parts of our community will have access to high-speed internet in the next couple of years. Yeah, well, that's out of that side of my mouth. The thing is, it's only happening in the urban areas. So that doesn't really help, farmers that are our farmers aren't really out that far, but it's not really helping the rural areas that much. So we'll see. We also understand that there's a critical role that's being played around digital innovation. So let's talk about that for a while, because this plays a big part in driving business success. And when discussing the impacts on small businesses, it's essential to highlight the remarkable success of the Digital Main Street program in Lincoln. I'm pleased to share that Lincoln businesses have received a total of $152,500 through the province's fourth round of the Digital Transformation Grant. And this program helps local businesses enhance their online capabilities. Since the launch of the $2,500 Digital Transformation Grant 4, the Town of Lincoln's Digital Service Squad has assisted over 60 local businesses in receiving the grant to help grow their businesses online. The Digital Service Squad has assisted businesses in Lincoln to develop a Google My Business profile, enhance their social media presence, provide support for basic website and an e-commerce setup, and apply for the Digital Transformation Grant, which includes an online assessment, online training modules, and the development of a digital transformation plan. When we discuss impactful grant programs and that yield tangible results on investment, this is what we mean. Now I want to talk about the Youth Skills Studio, and we have representatives here today. Our commitment to supporting local talent and addressing the labor shortage in Lincoln continues with initiatives like the Youth Skills Studio. By investing in our youth, and we always wanted this, we would say it, it always came out of our mouths, but we never knew how to do it. You've heard me say that before. We're now demonstrating, and we have been for a number of years, the accountability both to the taxpayer, to our residents, and to our businesses by investing in our future. Every dollar, every program that keeps our youth in the community is an investment in Lincoln's quality of life and prosperity. In 2023, we received our third grant through the province's Skills Development Fund to support the Youth Skills Studio. This additional funding of $2.9 million will prepare 250 youth in Lincoln and across Niagara for careers in technology, tourism, and hospitality, and connect trained youth with 75 businesses hiring across sectors, including tech, manufacturing, hospitality, and tourism. Let's move on to work in Lincoln. Our commitment to support local talent and addressing the labor shortage in Lincoln doesn't stop there. Thanks to the province's Skills Development Fund, we recently hosted our third job fair last month, building on the success of our first two events in 2023. At each job fair, we continue to witness attendees arriving with uncertainty, although I've seen some of them walking along with their CVs in their hands, and they're coming down the Great Lakes High School sidewalk, and they're really on a tear because they're looking for their summer job. Over the three events, we saw over 1,300 total attendees connect with 82 local employers, and it's evident that our efforts are making a tangible impact, and we're committed to continuing the momentum. At the very least, the businesses don't have to advertise, so there's no cost to them. They just come, they set up their tables, and I notice that the owners come. They're not sending representatives. They're not sending the most junior person. They're there themselves to see these people face to face and sort them out. So thanks very much. Again, it's our Economic Development Department that's working in this regard. Additionally, our workinlincoln.ca platform is always available for employers to post job openings at no cost and for job seekers to apply further, facilitating connections in our community. So this is a very local way of doing things, and people appreciate it, and they're making good use of it. Our local wineries, let's talk about some of the awards that came into the community through the local wineries. A total of 211 awards at the 2023 National Wine Awards of Canada. Additionally, the restaurant Pearl Morissette, which is just down the road here on the east side, just to the south, earned a spot in the 2024 La Liste of the top 1,000 restaurants in the world, highlighting the culinary success of the Niagara Benchlands. We're so proud of all these achievements of the wineries and the business of the Niagara Benchlands. It's not a fairy tale. It's not something that's happening because there's some kind of magic out there. I mean, I just have to turn and look over here at Sue Ann and her husband. They could give us the skinny on what a difficult business this is to be in. We could have the Honsbergers come in and give us a little spiel. There's a reality to all these businesses, but our community is working hard. They're motivated to work hard, and they get a lot of support to do that. They get a lot of support from businesses like NPEI as well in terms of the growth in the community. So now we're actively promoting our third round of the $25,000 Niagara Benchlands Destination Development Fund, supporting local tourism-based businesses. This fund encourages collaboration and innovation to create tourism products and initiatives that positively impact Lincoln's tourism economy. As you can see, tourism plays a pivotal role in driving our local economy. Our Niagara Benchlands tourism brand has been embraced by the local business community for its authenticity and uniqueness. We're setting ourselves apart, and with sustained investment, we can anticipate substantial growth and prosperity for this thriving industry. These programs are all integral components of our broader economic development strategy and action plan, all moving to propel Lincoln forward as a thriving and resilient community. Recognizing the important role of tourism-related jobs and the economic value of the tourism industry in our community, a key priority in 2023 was redeveloping our Destination Marketing Organization, or DMO. This initiative aims to support tourism marketing and definitively place the Niagara Benchlands on the world map as a premier destination. In December of 2023, Council passed a resolution to establish a DMO for the town in collaboration with St. Catharines. This DMO will promote the Niagara Benchlands to various travel segments while Lincoln takes a bigger role. And we are in the early stages of development and will provide further updates throughout the year as we aim to showcase our destination both nationally and internationally. In fact, the town of Lincoln was recognized on both national and international stages in 2023. Lastly, I want to touch upon the importance of housing in our community. Despite substantial infrastructure improvements in 2023, Lincoln, like many communities across Ontario, faces a significant infrastructure gap. With our population forecasted to continue growing, it's imperative that we adapt to the changing housing landscape and shifting policies coming down the pipeline from upper levels of government. It used to be that the province would send you a new policy. You might never hear from them again on it. But now you get the policy, and then you get the revised policy. Last week, I think there were 3 days that we received revisions to one of the planning policies. So now that has to be taken by the staff and interpreted in terms of how it will impact us. And then we need to check with the region to find out what their interpretation is so that we're all working on the same page. So it's really quite interesting. But the province is determined. There will be development, and we have our marching orders. There's no question about that. As we progress through the official plan review process, we must recognize the importance of accommodating increased residential growth. And the work we're doing on providing a variety of housing stock to meet the various needs of current and future residents. We will see the construction of medium to high density housing in alignment with the provincial directives. With a limited supply of land and available for expansion, our focus must turn towards redevelopment and intensification within our existing built-up areas. And that, when I say built up, I mean moving up. Moving forward, areas such as the Prudhome's urban area and the Beamsville GO transit station will serve as crucial points for intensification. It's clear that as we navigate Lincoln's future, strategic planning and innovative approaches to housing will play a central role in ensuring our community's continued generosity and sustainability. In conclusion, if you haven't felt it, Lincoln is buzzing. And it's an exciting place to be and to work and to plan for. And as your local trusted government, we look forward to engaging with our local community to continue this momentum. Moving forward, let us embrace shared values of collaboration, innovation, resilience, and purpose as guiding principles that will foster an environment of economic prosperity and a future filled with opportunity for all of Lincoln. My pleasure.
The state of the town is done, but the conversation is not. We're going to continue with the conversation with Mayor Easton in just a few moments. There are 2 key words: orderly, quickly. So what we'd like you to do, as best you can in the same order we did before, go have a quick washroom break, grab a cup of coffee. There's dessert on the tables. Don't visit. Come back at your tables. We'll transform our setting and continue the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Bradley. Welcome back, everybody. Enjoy your dessert. I'm very excited for the next portion of our event, Chat with Mayor Easton. We took questions in advance of this event from all of you here today, so thank you to everyone who took the time to submit your questions. We did get a lot in the same theme, so we've tried to summarize the most common questions. You may not hear your question exactly as it was asked, but we're trying to get to as many of them as possible, but also keeping in mind that you all live very busy lives and we want to get you out of here on time today. Okay, so there should be some forms on your tables. If you have questions that maybe come up during our chat or something that you thought of during Mayor Easton's address, please write down your questions and submit them to the chamber staff, Amelia or Katie Sams. And we're going to be directing those to the mayor and to town staff to get answers to those questions in a follow-up to this event. You can look for those answers. They'll be posted on the town website, and they'll also come out in the chamber newsletter in the future, okay? So really trying to make sure that this is a two-way conversation and that you are getting the answers to your most burning questions. So we're calling this, other events have called it a fireside chat. We're not so much in front of a fire. Maybe we'll call this the vineyard side chat in front of this beautiful imagery here. Maybe we could get a couple glasses of wine and just make this a really informal Q&A. So Mayor Easton, please join me up here when we'll take some questions.
Thanks, Katie. It doesn't look like wine.
No, we have water.
Well, this is very comfortable.
Yes, nice and cozy. Great. Well, Mayor Easton, I'm going to start right off the bat with something that you spoke about in your address, and that's about bringing broadband to every person here in Lincoln, you know, the urban areas, and the rural areas too, of course, can't be forgotten. So what exactly is the town doing to make sure that broadband and high-speed internet's accessible to everyone?
Well, this is very interesting because I didn't know the answer to this question until about 10 minutes ago. But apparently the internet service provider whose name I couldn't share with you is working with the town, and they are looking into the service levels in the rural area. That's the purpose of that money. And I didn't have that information, so I'm happy to be able to share that with you now, and I know that there will be a tremendous effort put behind that to get the greatest benefit from it.
Absolutely, really great to hear that. And of course, we got a lot of questions around housing and the housing crisis. So I know you mentioned some things in your address, but you know, maybe you can just help us understand a little bit better. What is the municipality able to do, and what are you currently doing to address the housing crisis?
This is such a huge question, and it is a crisis. I think that we all agree that across the Dominion, this is referred to as a crisis. You know, I remember back in the day when you could make a decision at the council table one week, you could come back in next week, maybe 2 weeks after that, and you could change that decision. And that did happen. And so if you didn't follow through on a decision with planning, well, it just didn't get done. But the province, as I said earlier, they have given us our marching orders. And although we don't have quotas in Lincoln at the moment, some communities do, we don't have quotas, but there are targets for us to meet. So we have close to 8,000 housing units that have been approved that have not been started. 8,000. 4,300 of those are in Prudhomes. But when you think about the fact that there's a weak workforce in construction right now, especially with some of the specialized skills that are required, interest rates aren't ideal. Therefore, who's going to start? It wouldn't be good business to spend that money right now. And basically, we need to have a change in the circumstances in order for the developers to move forward. Developers are business people like everybody else, and they needed to be treated like business people, not as a negative impact on your community. We've had some great development in Lincoln, and we certainly are looking forward to some of the design work that's going to be coming forward. So what does the province have to say? Well, they say you will build. You will not play not in my backyard games. If you don't meet your targets, you're going to be penalized. And they've structured the penalties so that they relate partly to development charges which you won't receive. They've changed the payment of development charges in some cases so that they, see, this is Ray. Ray's looking at me like, what is she talking about now? Because this is what happens when you've been on council for a long time and you start to see things like this whole business of development charges. If you took out the building permit, you paid, right? Well, not now. It comes through in stages. So that has a big impact on the finances of your municipality. So are we moving forward? Of course we're moving forward. But we have a commitment as well. The public have the same right now, under the current circumstances, as they've always had, to have input, to ask questions, and to try and change things so that if you're a neighbor, that you're not going to have certain impacts on you individually or collectively as a neighborhood. And our staff are very good at dealing with these things. Sometimes you're dealing with the same question over and over and over again. But that's the benefit of having long-standing staff who are very experienced. They are professionals. They know what their commitments are. They know what their integrity parameters are, and they govern themselves accordingly. So I have every confidence that the work that we've approved will be done, and there certainly are new projects that are coming down the pipe, and we'll deal with those each as it comes forward.
Wow. Amelia, thank you.
Hard questions get you wine.
Well, a little toast here to the success of every business in Lincoln. Cheers.
Cheers.
Not to get too off topic, but Mayor Easton, there was one quote, and it is a very quotable quote from your address today, and that was, when a business or a family in Lincoln succeeds, everybody in Niagara succeeds, and that is definitely something that I'll be taking home with me today. So thank you for saying that. I really like that. But back to the housing crisis, of course, you talk a lot, Mayor Easton, about the mandates coming down from the province, and it seems oftentimes we're handcuffed to their whims. What would you like to see the province or the federal government do to really enable the municipality to better deal with the housing crisis?
It's really so simple. It's about money. I mean, it's about money for infrastructure. But I think we're, in some ways, ahead of the game because we have such a good planning approach to how work should be done. Even though our asset management plan isn't complete in any sense, every municipality has to have an asset management plan in place by 2025. So we basically know, our staff know what needs to be done. They know the condition of things. They know if you're going to do these 3 projects over here, you need to have a water line, or you need to have a new wastewater system. You need to have a new pumping station. They know what needs to be done. And so some of the work that you see that's going on in the town right now relates to that, work that we're doing with the region on Ontario Street. Inconvenient as heck, but absolutely essential if we are going to have any new building, any more new building in the area. So that's the secret. So how are we doing that? So let's just use Prudhoe as the example, because essentially it's on the cusp of starting. Isn't it? It is. They may have left, but it is. So what we did was, there is money available. And somewhere in here in my notes, the name of it is there. But the most important thing is that there is a large sum of money that's available for a water line to go down this road, all the way down to the service road and across to the Prudham's property. That's essential. Without water, we're not going to have development. So we've applied for that. Well, because Sam, I don't know whether whether Michael Zweep is still here or not, but Sam he's very sharp. He knows when the ministers are coming into the area. He knows which ones relate to which projects we have on the go. So he invites them to come for 15 minutes, which almost always ends up being 45 minutes. And we meet him down on the Prudham's property. So we had 2 ministers come down in the last 3 to 4 months. And it gives us an opportunity to go over the plans with them, to talk about what our intentions are, to show the relationships with other parts of the community. On and on it goes. We can really make a very strong pitch. And so as long as we're able to do that and we meet our deadlines, which we have for submitting for the grants, we have probably a better chance than many municipalities for success. Why? Because we also have a staff that know how to fill out the forms. They do it on an interdisciplinary basis, and there's a great deal of expertise that's required to complete those forms. So I feel very, very positive, although there's all these other things going on that are not ideal. I know Mr. Chuck McShane was here earlier. I don't know whether he's still here or not. He's from the Niagara Home Builders. There's a lot of things that make it very difficult for the builders and the developers to go ahead. But on the other hand, we have to keep working over here to just keep things moving. We have to keep that engine running, and that's what we do.
Great, thank you. Madam Mayor, another question we got a few times was about the status of the town's purchase of Beamsville District Secondary School. So could you give us an update on that? And could you also let us know how will the community be engaged on the future of the site and the impact to the surrounding neighborhoods?
Yeah, just give me a second. I have to be very careful what I say. We had a meeting the other night that was in camera, and so I want to be able to tell you everything that I can about this if I can find it. Just a second. I may not even have it. Just give me a moment. For some reason or other, I don't have any information. I don't know, Lillian, if you can help me with this, because I can't remember the details. There's some things that I can't tell you, because there's a lot of legal work that we're doing, and so we can't really. The MOU is in place. Oh, thank you very much. Here it is. So we have an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, and I think most of you know about this. And the CAO has been working with representatives from BDSS around our intentions to purchase the land. And let me just tell you that I can't say how many times over the last 10 years that we have relented that we did not purchase every school that came available in Lincoln. We're sorry that we didn't purchase in Camden because of the big park that's there. And now it's so difficult to find park space for our residents in Camden. So letting BDSS go through our fingers is not in our plan, I can tell you that. But we do have to be reasonable, and we have to be careful in the way that we proceed. So we're currently working within the legal framework that will allow us to go forward, and that means looking at how much it's going to cost specifically, and I cannot tell you that at the moment. And then where will the money come from? How will we pay the money back? Will it put some limitations on us in the interim for some of the reasons that I mentioned to you before? If we have building going on, the development charges aren't pouring in as they normally do when you start building a few hundred houses, then you have to reconsider how your financing is going to work. But should the purchase take place successfully, we are going to engage extensively with community members. And I can assure you that this will happen, and you can be sure that it's going to happen because we already did this once before with the Prudham's project. It was very successful. I don't know whether it will be a full charrette process, but there's no question, I can think of at least 20 organizations within Lincoln that have an interest in this property. I can tell you, it's written here, and so I know I can tell you, and I'm really trying to be very careful that I don't tell you anything that I shouldn't, is that in order for us to be able to do what we need to do on that property, we will need to sell off part of the land for housing. There's just no other way around it. I mean, it wouldn't take you 15 minutes to do a few numbers to realize that we will need to have that money available. And we have an immense opportunity to recreate the space, not only for the neighborhood, but for the entire Lincoln community. We've been having conversations, for example, with the region, public health, to ensure that we have the services in our community that are close to home, close access for people, so you're not having to drive 15 or 20 minutes as you get older. I mean, our population is younger than some, and some days I think we have more little children than we have seniors, but some days I think it's pretty equal. But you still have to have services available, readily available. So we know that there's going to be a lot more conversations. There is a daycare center on the property. And so they, of course, are very concerned about their future, but we're also very concerned that they continue to be in the community to support. It's a very well-run facility, so they've been working with the CAO and staff on that regard. So there's a lot of options on the table. Think family doctors, think outpatient facilities, think about health hubs in general. And those are some of the areas that people are talking about. But also social, some of our social clubs don't have space. We have youth groups that don't have space. The seniors are banging on the doors for more pickleball. This is it. I mean, if you're not playing pickleball, you're not anybody. So anyway, these are all, my point is there's a lot of things a lot of demands out there. So we're moving forward, and we'll keep you as up to date as we possibly can, as soon as we can.
Great, thank you for sharing some of what you could with us. Kind of on that same theme about, expanding population, bringing in a lot of young families, the wait list for childcare in Niagara is getting longer by the day, a challenge I've experienced personally. So, lack of childcare spaces, it has a lot of repercussions on the local economy. Our business owners looking for people who need to return to work and may not be able to participate in the workforce. Is there anything that the town can do to address this challenge now and in the future as our population continues to grow? Sure.
I mean, first of all, I think there's a very good news story with childcare that didn't exist maybe even 3-4 months ago. I don't know whether I think there's still people here from Niagara College. I'm hoping. Oh, yes, good. So let's just start with the fact that there's been a period of time when there's been a bit of a drought in terms of the childcare workers. They were being paid so poorly that it wasn't an attractive occupation at all for young people. When you think of the responsibility that it entails, it just was completely out of whack. So that was one thing. There just weren't enough people to even fill the spots that were available. Secondly, they weren't paid very well. Again, complete disconnect with the responsibilities and the work that needed to be done. So that wasn't really helping at all. And then the third thing was really, and because of that, there just weren't enough spots. This is essentially a regional issue. And the region, about, I think maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, Rob, I think that's when it came to public health, a new report, more definitive in terms of identifying some of these problems being resolved. We know that Lincoln is very short. We are really in a short supply, but I have every confidence that this is going to change because the regional staff are on top of it. They've been doing a lot of survey work, and they actually showed us a map, which probably we could locate that map and we could share it with the public. It's just that it has dots on it, the dots showing where the new sites are going to be all over Niagara, and Niagara West is really everywhere. I don't think it's just Lincoln, West Lincoln and Grimsby are in the same boat. So we are empathetic to the situation, and we're certainly going to be part of the solution, Katie.
Yeah, great. That's great to hear.
I guess I could add something else. Just in terms of development, you might notice that we're putting more emphasis on commercial spaces as well. So in doing that, we can create the kind of spaces, we can build them into new construction or even redos. And we can ensure that that childcare is on the list of important and vital services for the community.
Absolutely. I don't think anybody would argue with that being recognized as a vital service. And we'd love to see that map as well to, see what's coming our way. Well, I think we have time for one final question, Mayor. And it's about your economic development team. And could you perhaps just enlighten us a little bit? What exactly does your economic development team do? How do they foster, growth in Lincoln and perhaps even regionally?
Well, I think the easiest way for me to explain this is to just go back a bit. And at one time, all business requests came through the mayor. Right, Ray? Absolutely. And then as planning departments got a little bit bigger and they became a little more complex, if there were a big project, say you were in the city of St. Catharines or Niagara Falls, Welland, then probably someone within the planning department who had that knowledge of land available and for different purposes and land values, they might be the person that would be available. But in the town of Lincoln now, because the planning department is just absolutely flat out busy with so much applications, the economic development department is really the face of a new person coming to town. So let's say somebody they're driving up and down Bartlett Road. We'll just use that as an example because that's where a lot of development has taken place. And they see a piece of land, they find out from the realtor it's worth so much money, and they want to find out what the true facts are about how it's zoned and whether there's water, it has access to water and energy sources, etc. And so they would call, they might even just drop into the town, and the receptionist would direct them to the economic development department. So now you are a captive audience, and you've got this person that you can grab onto. You've got their business card now. You can sit down with them and start to have a conversation about what your needs are, and they will then begin to help you work through that process. Sometimes it may be very successful. Sometimes they find out that we're not the right place at all, that Welland is the right place, because we don't have, because of our Greenbelt proposition, we don't have the kind of spaces that the larger cities have. They may have big old industrial buildings that aren't being used for any purpose, and they can be reworked for a different kind of a small manufacturing or medium or large manufacturing. In Lincoln, we're really looking at spaces about as big as this room, maybe these two rooms together, as a small manufacturing enterprise that would support agriculture. And so, anyway, that's the most simplistic way that I can describe it to you, but it's not about telling a business how to do their business. It's about you coming with a list of needs that need to be met, and then you decide whether this is the right environment for you. The good news is that we truly are open for business here in Lincoln. We're not just saying it, we are. And we make sure that there are problem-based solutions for whatever it is that you need, and we're committed to that.
Well, that's great. Thanks so much for clarifying that for us. And I think that's probably a good place to wrap this up, that Lincoln is open for business. I love that slogan. So we have a little gift for you, Mayor Easton, to say thank you so much for your time with us today. This is from one of our new chamber members, Minton Magnolia. So we hope you enjoy. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. It's been a great turnout and wonderful participation. Thanks again. Have a great summer.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.